All right, I'm going to take one more question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President-elect. In addition to the Santa Claus list, I want to get into some specifics on exactly what you plan to do when you say help is on the way. First of all, do you support the Bush administration's latest $800 billion bailout? Are you worried about the continuation of printing money? Specifically, what federal programs would you cut?
How many compound questions is this going to be?
It's three, to be honest with you. Secondly, what federal, you talked about sacrifice yesterday. What federal programs specifically, one or two, would you cut to actually pay for your stimulus plan? And finally, you're talking about changing Washington. Your campaign was that. Paul Volcker has been around a long time.
Paul, I think that's an insult there.
He's very highly respected, I want to add. Very highly, very wise man. But, sir, you talked about John McCain was going to come back to Washington if he won, and it would just move people into different chairs. You've got Tom Daschle, Hillary Clinton, Bob Gates.
Wait. Hold on.
We're here anyway.
Wait. Hold on. You hear that. So, first of all, that's not the topic. We're not talking about my cabinet because I haven't made those appointments yet.
So can we talk about Paul Volcker? He's been around a long time, so he's somebody who knows the ways of Washington. But what do you say to your supporters who are looking for change? Actually,
Paul Volcker hasn't been in Washington for quite some time, and that's part of the reason he can provide a fresh perspective. Austin Goolsbee, from my understanding, you've never worked in Washington.
Yeah, I've been on vacation.
This is about as fresh a face as you can get. Although, well, that's all right. Look, let me take the questions in turn. Number one, with respect to the details of the economic plan, as I've said before, we are going to be working over the next several months to put those details together. I've described for you the framework within which we are going to put that legislation forward. We're going to have a strong stimulus, an economic recovery plan that is designed to put people back to work. That's priority number one. It is going to be large enough to jumpstart the economy. That was what I talked about on Monday. On Tuesday, I talked about the fact that we are going to have to pare back on programs that do not work. And I think would hardly be expected to provide you a detailed list now. That's why I have Peter Ortzag, our budget director, who's going to be going through that budget, page by page, line by line. And the expectation is that we will identify those programs that are not working, make sure that those are eliminated, and put money into programs that do work around things like healthcare modernization, making sure that we've got the first-class schools that our kids need in order to compete in the 21st century, start putting a down payment on a new energy economy. When it comes to the people that we've pulled together, because I know this has been sort of conventional wisdom floating around Washington, that, well, there's a recycling of people who were in the Clinton administration, although Paul dates before that. The last Democratic administration that we had was the Clinton administration. And so it would be surprising if I selected a Treasury Secretary who had no connection with the last Democratic administration, because that would mean that the person had no experience in Washington whatsoever. And I suspect that you would be troubled and the American people would be troubled if I selected a Treasury Secretary or a chairman of the National Economic Council at one of the most critical economic times in our history who had no experience in government whatsoever. What we are going to do is combine experience with fresh thinking. But understand where the vision for change comes from first and foremost. It comes from me. That's my job, is to provide a vision in terms of where we are going and to make sure then that my team is implementing. I think that when you ultimately look at what this advisory board looks like, you'll say this is a cross-section of opinion that in some ways reinforces conventional wisdom, in some ways breaks with orthodoxy in all sorts of ways. And that's the kind of discussion that we're going to want. We want ideas from everybody. But what I don't want to do is to somehow suggest that because you served in the last Democratic administration that you're somehow barred from serving again, because we need people who are going to be able to hit the ground running.
And specifically, do you support the latest $800 billion bailout? Because the markets are watching your words very closely, and they're wondering whether you support that, sir.
Well, what I've said is that we have to do whatever's required in order to make sure that our financial system stays effective in being able to get credit to the markets. And it is important for us to make sure that the federal government, whether it's the Fed or the Treasury or any of the other agencies that have been given this authority, use it in a forceful fashion. The latest attempts by the Treasury to make sure that we have a housing market in which credit is flowing and that is looking at other areas of consumer credit like student loans or car loans. I think that is a positive sign. My hope is that over the next couple of months we continue to ensure that credit is flowing, that businesses are able to keep their doors open, that we are able to make sure that people make payroll. If we do those things, then I'm confident that we can get back on track, but we're still going to need the kind of economic recovery plan that I've been talking about and that I intend to get passed as soon as I'm sworn into office. All right? Okay, guys. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving. I want you to know that both Paul and Austin have special turkey cooking recipes if anybody out here needs some advice on how to make the ideal turkey. They seem to have a competition back here. All right. Thank you, guys.